We're going to try this again. Planning for 2017 success using your Google Calendar, or how to live a calendar-based life. And I'm going to do this one more time, and hopefully the tech gremlins will stay away and we can get this done. All right, so the thing is, I do this every year, and I do a little training around how to use your Google Calendar. And the thing is that you want to start to learn to live a calendar-based life if you want to really ramp up your productivity in your life. And I'm going to show you a few little things around that. Now, in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you how to use Google Calendar to manage your time, because time is the key to your success in 2017. And I know there are lots of people out there right now, and they're talking about how to be successful next year, how to organize your business, how to organize your intentions, have your 3 words, have your 1 word, all of that. But underneath all of that, how you manage your time is what determines if those things are going to be successful or not. And I'm also going to dive into a couple of things about the Google Calendar from the mobile view on Android, and show you which things to avoid and which things are wonderful, and just dive into that just a little bit, and then tell you what it feels like to live a calendar-based life. And I know there are a lot of people here who might know who I am, but if not, go ahead and Google me. I like being Googled. But I've written 2 books, Facebook Marketing, All-in-One for Dummies. I did the first and second editions along with Amy Porterfield and Andrea Vall, and then I wrote Social Media Marketing for Dummies e-learning kit. So I'm a 2 times dummies writer. I'm also the founder of TimeBliss.me using Google Calendar, and co-founder of Social Media Manager School with the fabulous Andrea Vall. So you can find out all about that. But I've been doing this a really, really long time. And if you want to review some of my other training videos, I have the one last year I did on goal gating and how to layer calendars. The one in 2005 was all about calendar basics and the blogging system that I use using Google Calendar. And the thing about this is that I'm not going to go deeply into this webinar on calendar basics. So if you need those, you'll have to seek out these other training videos. And in the one in 2014, I talked a lot about mindset and what drains your time and how to use a journal to find out what's working and not working for you. I put them all on a playlist over there on YouTube. You can just go and watch them as you need them. Now, you need better time management, and you probably already know you need better time management. But if you feel bad after spending time online, you need time management. If you're up past your bedtime all the time, then this is what you need to do, is manage your time. And this was my problem many years ago, and this is why I had to figure out a system to take care of my time. Or if people get mad at you for not paying attention to them, hello, someone needs to have time management skills so that they can have blocks of time they can really focus in on their family or spouses or pets or whatever is going on in your world. If your pay to time ratio is way off, so you are doing some type of work and you are getting paid X amount, but it turns out that you're taking 5 times longer than what you bid that thing for. If your pay to time ratio is way off, you need better time management. If you're obsessed with learning skills that you will never ever use, and you say, oh, I take that course, oh, I need this, oh, I need to watch that video, then if you're obsessed with that, then you definitely need better time management skills. Now, here's the thing. You can still watch all those videos. There's just a way to do it. If you're blankly staring at a phone screen for no good reason, you need time management skills. And if you're finding there's no momentum in your personal and professional life, then it's all about time management. You're not being the CEO of your life if you fall into that big black hole of time suck. Okay, so if you're in that big black hole of time suck, I'm going to show you some things that can help. Now, planning for success in 2017 won't happen if you keep saying you're going to try this calendar thing sometime, or you swear I'm going to use that calendar thing next week or not tomorrow, or you forget to do stuff and blame it on your age, or this is the big one, you're sure it can't be as simple as using a calendar. Gosh, I run into that one all the time. Or you're convinced that next week will be different. I'll have my time management figured out next week. Or you say, I don't want to be tied down to a calendar. I hear this one a lot. Or you try to ignore that there's no momentum in your personal and professional life. So this will not happen. Success will not happen no matter which system you use, no matter whose journal you are using, if you say these things about your calendar. Now, Living a calendar-based life is very simple and it's easy to implement, but you do have to be willing to try. Okay, so now all my ranty stuff is over. Let's just jump into it. So let's get started. It's okay to start with paper for step 1. So those of you who know me are thinking, what? She's saying paper? And I said, yeah, you can use anything you want. If your brain works top to bottom or left to side, left to right, or in a grid or whatever, you can start. But remember, this is only step 1 and it's not the final step. You can make to-do lists, you can draw hand-drawn calendars, you can put post-it notes on a board all over the wall, you can use full-size chalkboards, you can use full-size whiteboards on walls, you can use apps and other systems. I don't really care what you use for step 1. You're going to take that step 1 and just get all of those things that you want to do and want to have happen in 2017 that you have worked on through other systems. You need to get them out in the way that you best know how. Now, my weird process looks like that. It's a little bit like a mind map and on big pieces of paper. So step 1, you just need to get this information out in some way. Now, there are some systems that have you review what worked well last year and then you just design to repeat that. And there are some systems that try to get you to stretch into things that will bring you greater joy in business. And there are some systems that have you journal all your hopes and dreams and you examine your life and all that kind of stuff. Whatever you want to use. I am not in the business of step 1. Step 1 is for other people and other systems, and they work differently for different people, so I am not going to teach that part. I'm going to teach you from step 2. And step 2 is very, very important because a lot of systems will just get all of that stuff out in your journal and on the post-it notes and all that, and then they just drop you there and they say, okay, go do it. But now what? How do I actually make these things happen? And that is step 2. And this is how you're going to do it. The first thing you're going to do is create a new calendar inside of Google Calendar. And I'm not going to do basics of Google Calendar. If you don't know how to do these things, we can go find a different tutorial to find out and then come back here to step 2. So you're going to create a new calendar. You're going to give this calendar a name. This is going to be like 2017 I Rock the World calendar or whatever you want to call it. You can put in a description. You can decide if you're going to share this calendar with someone or not. And then you're just going to create the calendar. I want you to select month view because we're going to put some broad ideas on the calendar first. So the month view of this new calendar. Now here's a quick tip. If you have other calendars, you can go over to the left column, drop it down and display only this calendar, and then every event that we put on it now will automatically be on the correct calendar. All right, so go to that month view again. And get all of your to-dos and your post-it notes and your journals and your mind maps and whatever it is that you have there. And we're going to use all of that information to put what I call broad stroke ideas, broad ideas on your calendar. So the first thing you do is click inside a date and then click Edit Event. Once you edit the event, you're going to put the project, the product, the focus, the keyword, the name, the thing that is one of the major things that you're going to do in the untitled event area. So for example, let's say you have a book that you're writing this year and you need to, there are lots of moving parts for that book. So you can put in this untitled event area, you can put my fantastical book, right? Keep it as an all-day event and then make sure it's on the correct calendar. And then in that description area where number 4 is, you're going to use that as a bucket for ideas and tasks and all those things on those to-do lists and journal notes and all those things you came up with. Just type all that stuff into that description area. Just use it as that's where the brain dump goes. Those of you who loved color code, this would be a good time to do that. I know there are people here who love color coding, and so we definitely want to add the color coding. And then you set notifications. Some people like notifications, some people don't. It's up to you. I think it's important to know how it works because in some places, in some ways, it's a saver for your time and it'll keep you on task. And then you just save this event. Okay, now this is an important process. You're going to spend time in this process. You're going to lay out your entire year, or some people say the next 90 days, right? But what you're going to do is this first pass is for those broad strokes. For example, write the book, launch the product, build the online course, do this thing, do that thing. These are the broad strokes, and it'll look a little bit like this in the month view. You'll have, if they're color coded, you can see on this one, there's February was a focus on love and family, and in March the focus is on nutrition, and then the April focus down here is National Stress Awareness Month. Who knew in April? And so when I look at the month, I can see those broad stroke ideas. So this important process of spending time and putting those first broad stroke ideas is great. And then you're going to go through it again with a realistic review. Because a lot of times when you do these journaling processes or mind maps, you get very optimistic about what you can do and what you can accomplish. And if you put all of that stuff on your calendar and then kind of take a step back and look at it realistically, you might find you need to make some adjustments. You might need to move some things or completely delete some things based on what you're seeing in the calendar. And that third pass is for those gut feelings like, does this feel right now? Does this feel good? So do that particular pass. It's really important to check in to see how you feel about things. You can always move these things around in this month view and drag these long bars around to new start dates and adjust them. That's what makes Google Calendar so awesome. But now, this is where the magic gets created in step 3. So step 1 was just getting all that information out there, whichever way you like to do it. Step 2 was putting in those broad stroke ideas all the way through your year or for the first 90 days. And now step 3. This is where you transform the broad into specific. And if you don't do step 3, what happens is you want to get these things done, but they won't actualize. So this is how we're going to do it. Go to that first broad stroke event, but now this time you're going to be in the week view. And you're going to put the tasks on the calendars that will actualize the event in specific time blocks. You're going to be as specific as possible in the name of the event, and you're going to add the details and references and ideas to that description area again. So now a lot of people say, okay, well, I need to blog, so I'm going to put a little time block on my calendar on Monday, and it's just going to say blog post. Well, that's not this. That's not step 3. So if your broad stroke for, let's say, March says blog on the topic of stress reduction, then what you need to do is think about all of those moving parts for creating a blog post. And I don't know about you, but there's research time, there's images that have to be sourced, the blog post has to be written and edited and revised, and it has to be published. And there are lots of different moving parts. And depending on you, you might be doing all of these things, or you might be outsourcing some of these things. So as you put them on the calendar, instead of these same size blocks of time on your calendar, you're going to adjust them according to if you're doing them or if you're outsourcing them and just need to send an email. So I'll show you how that looks in just a minute. But once someone does all of this and they find all those moving parts and they put them separately on the calendar so that they can move them to the appropriate time, then sometimes they go, oh, I need to promote it, I need to market it. But yes, but it's not just one little tiny little time block. You've got to create the tweets and the image posts, and you have to set up scheduling, and you have to put it in your email. There are different moving parts to promotion of your work also. And if you separate them out, tease them out from that broad stroke idea into the specific, and you put them specifically on your calendar in certain time blocks, then this is where the productivity magic really starts to happen. So you're pulling it down from the broad stroke and putting it into time blocks on the week view here. And the nice thing about this is you can think about the time of day that you are most on for certain types of things. I know some people like to write early in the morning, and some people prefer to write after the kids go to bed. So you get to move those things where they're best for you. And then you're going to, again, spend time doing this process. You're going to lay out the entire year. You're going to think about that best time of day for each type of item. And here is the snappy part in that: use repeating events as much as possible. So if you're blogging once a month, you can set up all those moving parts, but as you create them as events, instead you're going to look at the repeat and then go ahead and set up the configuration for the repeat for that particular event. So you might have research blog topic. If you're blogging once a month, you can set that up on the first Monday of every month, and you just set it up there for it'd be monthly. It repeats every 1 month, and it's always on Monday, and it ends never, or however you want to manage it. Then you need to layer back on those other calendars. Now, I know a lot of people have family calendars where it has a vacation time and it has all the, you know, the school things that you have to be there for, and appointments and things like that. So you add back those calendars, and now you can adjust things. You can move things around, because overlap equals overwhelm. And I really want you to have this where you're just swimming along, being very, very productive. So if you follow and listen to your calendar, it's easy to learn to live this calendar-based life. And life just gets so easy when half of your brain is already on a calendar. It frees you up to just do the things that you need to do. Your calendar is going to tell you when you're overbooked, because if you start putting your work and your family and the things that you're responsible for all on your calendar, everything on your calendar, you will see that you have either very little time for extra things, or maybe you found out that you have an all-day Friday that's completely open. You will be able to tell and be able to feel freedom in knowing that. And your calendar can tell you when you're avoiding a type of task, because you know you can move those little events all over the place. So if you find that you're moving it to Tuesday, and then you move it to Wednesday, and then to Thursday, and then to Friday, and you haven't done it all week, that is a keen observation by your calendar that you need to outsource that particular thing. And if you're going to stay productive, then you need to think about giving that to someone else to do. It'll also tell you when you're not realistic about time. If you put 5 things down on your calendar to do on Monday, and you find that you're into the middle of the first thing and you're not done, but the second thing is digging you to stop and to start it, and you have to move that second thing down, which moves the third, which moves the fourth, which moves the fifth, and then all of a sudden it looks like you're going to be working until midnight, then that shows you that you're not really being very realistic about how long it takes you to do things. And this, you will be taught very quickly what to put those time blocks as for certain tasks. It'll also tell you when your life is or is not balanced, because if you don't have time for family and the work is taking too much time, and you can see that very easily in the week view, which things are family, which things are work, and if one is more or the other, it'll very quickly tell you where to do. It'll also tell you how to organize your tasks so things get done on time with less stress. And I have so many people who, once they start doing this process, really makes their life productive. This is funny. She says she's only been doing it for 2 days and she's already blowing through the projects and not feeling as stressed. I have people who tell me all the time, it's been the most productive week of my last 2 years just by putting things on the calendar. It's a very powerful process. So I just want you to know that, you know, even if you think you know time management and you think you understand these things, this process can be a gift to you, just like it was to Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. All right, let's kind of shift gears a little bit and go into the Google Calendar in terms of the mobile view and some of my thoughts on this. So on the left, you see a screenshot of my Android phone, showing the official Google app in the day view. And the one on the right is the calendar app showing the Google Calendar. And they're very similar. There are some things I like on either one. I actually like how it's configured on the top on the regular calendar app instead of the official Google app, but you know, that's okay. So you notice at the bottom the plus signs. We're going to go into that, what happens when you add things to your calendar from your mobile view. But first I want you to know this. If you're using the Google Calendar app it defaults to what's called schedule. And the schedule is absolutely not the view you want if you're really going to master your time. You have to change it to the day view or 3-day view. Anything other than schedule. And the reason for that is you'll see on the right side that this view is a terrible disconnect from the reality of time. That walk that's just an hour in the morning takes up a big hunk of space, and then the TT, which is a client for me, from 1 to 5 is just this one tiny little sliver of time. It is such a disconnect from the reality of time. This will not help you. So don't use this view. It's a cool view. It's really dynamic and wonderful and all that. But if you're going to use it to manage your time, use the day view. Okay, rant over. All right, so now back to this. If you click the plus buttons on those two different types, on the regular calendar app, it just puts you right into this interface and you can just add a new event. But the Google app now has this layer before you get to that. If you click event, you will very quickly go into a space that looks just like it is on the right. And then you have goal and reminders. And the nice thing about reminders is if you have a Android phone, and it probably works for other things too, but you know, the thing is about reminder is this is something that you can use when you're eating breakfast, or you're sitting around, or you're thinking of something in the car and you have everything set to hands-free. It's just a quick, easy way to throw something on your calendar. And I'm going to demonstrate this. And I know you can't see what I'm doing, but you will hear what I'm doing. Okay, Google. Remind me to call Andrea at 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay. Do you want to save this?
Yes.
Okay. Reminder saved.
And now it's done. And it puts it straight on my calendar, and it went into my contacts and pulled out a phone number and put it with the reminder. So it's a beautiful system for very helpful tiny little things like that. Now let's talk about goals. Goals are very interesting. When you hit goal, you have this scroll that has these different types of categories, and you know, it's the nice thing about it is it makes those really pretty little graphics in that schedule view, the evil schedule view that I don't want you to use. But I'm just going to show you how the process works. So I selected Organize My Life, and now I'm going to use Custom. If you use Custom, you can change what the title of the event is, and here I'm going to do Check Facebook. And once I click the check mark, it says, well, how often? All the time isn't listed there. I'm just going to say every day. And now it says for how long? All day? I'm just going to say for 30 minutes. And then the best time, I'm going to say afternoon. And then it will go into and it will review. So you want to do it 5 sessions a week for 30 minutes in the afternoon. And I say yes. And then it starts looking inside my calendar, finding a time for it, going ahead and scheduling them, and then it'll show me this and says, are you ready to start your goal? And if you like how it looks, you just hit look good, and then it throws it onto your calendar. And this is what happens on the desktop view. It just throws it onto your calendar like this with a little flag on it. Now, the interesting thing about this is from the desktop, you can't edit it. You have to edit it on the Google app. The only really good thing you can do is you can hit mark as done, and then it puts a line through it. So it's a little bit like an evolved to-do list. Okay, it's an evolved one because it's right on your calendar. You know, if you use Google Tasks and you put a time and a date on the task, it will put it on your calendar. So it's sort of like an evolved task list for Google Calendar. So here are my thoughts about it. The pros about it is it's so easy to add things to the calendar. It's like an evolved to-do list, and you guys know I don't like to-do lists. To-do lists don't get done unless you actualize them onto a time block on your calendar. And you know, it's nice because it will take things from your email and put them on your calendar and remind you about things. It's really kind of spooky and scary, but it's awesome too at the same time. The cons on this are you can't add details in that description area like I explained in the top part of this presentation, and it's not really fully integrated into other calendar apps, so you have to use the Google Calendar app to use some of those things. So that's basically it. How to put these broad projects into time blocks onto your calendar, and how to use this to get things done in 2017. And you can ask me questions anywhere. You can come over to Facebook or Twitter or G Plus or YouTube or Instagram, anywhere you want to find me and ask me questions about this. I'm happy to answer them. All you need to do is go over to timebliss.me and you can check it out even more. And that's it. And thank you very much. And I hope you've enjoyed this presentation for my annual training program for Google Calendar. And talk to you online. Bye-bye.